What's going on YouTube? It's your man D Black here with another video. This is gonna be real quick. I've said in previous videos that I'm looking to get some more hardware synths. I'm really trying to expand. I would say I'll probably want to grab maybe like, and this is like throughout the span of a couple years from now, maybe like 3 more hardware synths. So right now I already got the Sequential Prophet 10, which is dope. It has a unique sonic character. It's a poly synth, but it has a mono output. But I mean, it still sounds, the sounds are thick. It's very simple. I'm a guy that, I didn't grow up programming synths or anything like that. I've always been an MPC head and just attached like a Korg Triton, a motif, a Phantom, all those things. So I never really got too deep into designing patches and all of that. I have been lately, but I think the Prophet 10 was a good synth for me to jump into, a good synth for me to start learning how to patch my own sounds. The MPC Key 61 sounds, they're good. All right, they're good, and I'm working with them. So these are the 2 hardware synths that I have right now. I'm like getting away from using the VSTs and all that, because we all have them all. We got the piles of them inside of our DAW. And I've just gotten to the point where it's becoming way too overwhelming for me to even, I don't even pull them up anymore. Between the Prophet 10 and the MPC Key 61 sounds, I got, the plugins that they have in the Key 61 now, I'm fine for right now. There's really no need for me to open up VSTs and all of that other good stuff. I'm just kind of done with those at the moment. Not to say I'm never going to use them again, but I'm just, as of right now, it's just too overwhelming. When I pull up that plugin list, y'all already know y'all got the same issue. Y'all pull up that plugin box and that thing, like, you just see columns upon columns of plugins. And that could become overwhelming. It'd be one thing if we just used one and like mastered that, but come on. Do we all do that? No, we don't. Everybody talks about what they should do. I hear a lot of people on here say, well, you should master what you have and then move on. Man, who does that? Like, let's just be, when we're talking about the digital world, which one of y'all really do that? Like, I want to see one of y'all that have mastered Omnisphere. Like, everything that plugin has to offer. I want to see somebody on here that all they use is that, and they know everything, all the ins and outs of it. And there's probably somebody, but the majority of us, no. We pull it up, we pull a preset up, and then we'll tweak the preset a little bit, but that stuff gets a little bit too in-depth and too complicated. And for somebody like me, that's gonna kill my creativity. I don't have a bunch of time to play around with some of these audio units and VSTs, these plugins, and all of their intricacies. I just don't have the time for it. I got a full-time job. I got a family, wife, kids, all of that other stuff. So I need to be able to pull something up, maybe tweak the preset, make it mine, and then add it into the track. So what I'm looking for now, I'm kind of tied between that Roland Jupiter X, that Arturia Poly Brute, and then just like a couple other synths. I mean, even if y'all have any suggestions on what hardware synth I should get next, throughout the course of the next couple years, I'll be getting a couple more hardware synths. But as of right now, I'm just looking to get one to complement what I already have. Again, the Prophet 10 has its own unique sound. MPC Key 61 and the plugins that Akai's added in there, that has its own sound. So I'm just looking for one more hardware synth that will give me that sound. I've been looking up the Roland Jupiter stuff for a long time, but I don't have the cash to drop on a Jupiter. Like that thing, 20 grand or something crazy like that. I've seen that on Reverb and a couple of other different websites to buy gear, and that's just nowhere near the budget that I have to spend on a hardware synth. Like, I'm trying to look between anywhere 2,000 to 3,000, something like that, on a good solid hardware synth, and I'm kind of leaning towards that Jupiter X. I've been looking at some reviews. If any of y'all have that, I don't know, get in the comment section, give me some comparisons between the Jupiter X, the Arturia Polybrute, and some other ones that I may not know about that may be better as far as sound is concerned. I do like that 80s type sound, so that's why I'm kind of gearing more towards that Jupiter X. Yeah, I know you can get, people are gonna say you can get any synth and program it and make it sound like that. Listen, I want people to answer that have had experience with like either a Jupiter 8 or a Jupiter X or a synth that's in that vein, to give me some advice, not something I can read online too. I can look at reviews. I also looked at some YouTube stuff with just the audio only, comparing some of these, but I know the community out here is a lot more, there's people that's out here more knowledgeable than myself. So I want to get that knowledge and that information from y'all. So I'm reaching out to y'all. Let me know in the comments of which one you think I should roll with. Depending on what all y'all say, I'll do some more research. But yeah, it's kind of between those two right now. Again, let me know, put me on to something else. If there's like another dope synthesizer that is kind of in that same vein. Again, I like that 80s type sound. I like that the sonic character of some of those synths that were coming out at that time. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for. Now my Prophet 10 does have that sound, but again, it has its own unique sound. And Roland is known for having some dope sounds. The only experience I have with Roland is with the Phantom, and I was using that back in the day. You know, everybody had the Phantoms hooked up to the MPC. I was one of those guys. I had a Phantom rack, Motif, Triton, all, you know, the standard. That was like the industry standard at the time. Those were the boards that people were using. And I started making beats in '99. I knew some old heads that was rocking some of the older Roland stuff, but I didn't really use that because again, I started in '99, and I knew some cats that was like older than me that was using like those Roland racks, you know, all that stuff Teddy Riley and all them was using back to make them hits in the late 80s, early 90s, all that New Jack stuff and all that. So there were some guys I knew that were using that when I was coming up. They still had their old racks and everything when they were producing back in the day. So I would use them when I went over. And I did like those sounds, and it looks like the Jupiter X cloned most of those modules, those synths and things like that. So that's why I'm kind of leaning more towards that. There's a lot of people saying that the Jupiter X sounds just like the Jupiter 8 for a fraction of the cost. So, and if that is the case, if any of y'all have any experience, personal experience using the Jupiter X, or you've used the Jupiter 8, and you can share some of your opinions, please do so. Again, comment, let me know. I need y'all help with this. So yeah, get in the comment section, spark some conversation as always. I'm looking to hear what you guys have to say and what your suggestions are. But in the meantime, I'll holler at y'all.